Hello. My question is, do souls have unique names? And if they do, how can we remember our unique soul name while incarnated here on Earth? Thank you.
Souls do not have you.
Yeah, I was about to say that I think that souls don't have names. There might be more advanced ways of identifying a certain individual, right? Such as their core signature, which is basically how our soul operates and how it vibrates. Let's see.
Unique names, they have unique vibrational resonances by which they recognize one another. Doesn't really translate as names as you understand it in physical reality. You can give your soul a name if you wish, doesn't matter, but as a soul, you have a vibration that is unique. That's how other souls recognize you. It's not exactly a name.
Hello, Bashar.
And you, good day.
I have some questions about the concepts of existence and consciousness.
Yes.
My first question is that I understand that my concurrent past, present, and future lives for this incarnation are all happening right now from the Oversoul's perspectives. But as my soul chooses to cycle through different incarnations during its existence, I know all of those potential incarnations already exist, but surely they're not all happening right now, correct?
In a sense, yes, and in a sense, no. I understand this can be confusing. But the idea is that from the perspective of the versions of consciousness that are experiencing them, they are all happening now. But from your perspective on the level you are at, they do not seem to all be happening now. That's just the result of the level you're looking at this concept from. But from other levels, yes, they all exist, are all happening right now. Because each and every version of consciousness that can and does experience those lives is experiencing them now. Everything is happening now. Everything. However, from your perspective, you will not experience those things until you create the linear order in which you deem is appropriate for your unique soul's growth. I understand again that this can be a little confusing, but nevertheless, in a sense, the answer is both yes and no.
Of course. So there's never a still frame that remains vacant. There's always consciousness.
Yes.
In every frame.
Every frame. There's always consciousness.
All right. My second question is about densities. Now, are densities attributes of the game pertaining to the game we play in different incarnations?
Yes.
Or are the attributes of the individual soul itself?
Well, it's what the soul has chosen to experience that determines the density that the incarnation takes place in.
Okay. So a soul can jump to different...
Well, that's what's going on your planet right now. You're going from a lower vibration to a higher vibration while still experiencing physical reality. So the way that humans have coined this is you're going from third density, a lower vibration, to fourth density, a higher vibration, and yet it still remains a physical experience, but a more refined one. So densities are kind of like states within a country. Dimensions are the countries. So you're going from third density to fourth density in the fourth dimension. But when you...
I remember that he said that when you cross from fourth density to fifth density, when your cycles per second are more than 333,000. So when you cross the threshold, then you move to the fifth density and fifth dimension as well. Not a physical experience anymore, but from the third to the fourth, I don't know what is the threshold. I know that he said previously that currently in this year here of 2025-26, said that the majority of people here on Earth are around 40,000 cycles to 70,000. And when you are in the fourth density, then you will be around already like 180,000, more or less on that level. I don't know where the threshold is from third to fourth. If you know, please, write in the comment.
Go to fifth density, you're actually crossing into the fifth dimension, which is non-physical reality. So it's like going from one country to another, while going from third density to fourth density is just like going from one state to another within the same country. Does that make sense?
Yes, but my soul, once it reaches its next incarnation, can choose any density level it wants.
For what? Yes, for whatever it wants to learn. Yes, of course. Now, as you progress, if you progress, it is unlikely that you will again choose a density that is representative of a lesson you've already learned. But you can use that to your advantage for different purposes. So, but you may experience it in a different way because of what you have become, what you've already learned, what you're bringing to the table in the new incarnation. So it's not like a more advanced being can't also choose to incarnate in a density that would seem to be lower, but it will do so for a completely different purpose and a completely different lesson and a completely different service.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, that helps a lot. Now, since we expand and contract within the soul billions of times per second, during each pulsation, does our expansion actually reach all the way through each and every one of those middle layers of consciousness, like the two automatic minds, the template level, up to the soul itself?
Well, yes and no. It's not exactly that you're contracting and expanding within a particular incarnation. The contraction and expansion is from one incarnation to another. When we talk about the idea of shifting billions of times per second, it's not the same kind of contraction and expansion that happens between incarnations.
But in your soul cycle transmission meditation, you were employing this wording of the soul contracting, expanding billions of times per second. So that maybe that got me confused a little bit.
All right. Well, we apologize if the terminology wasn't clear. But the idea is when we talk about that kind of contraction and expansion, we're talking about a contraction and expansion of space-time, not necessarily of the soul itself to all the different levels.
Got you. Right. And after accumulating enough experience, can the soul eventually grow to become its own oversoul, capable of extending souls of its own?
Well, not really. The oversoul is a euphemism that represents the idea, or is the same thing that you also refer to as the soul family. So you don't become the soul family. Now, of course, there is a level of perspective from which you can identify with all of the souls in the family and can see them and experience them in a way as if you contain them, but that's just a perspective. You don't actually become the entire soul family.
Okay. Finally, you described the soul as an eternal sphere of light, but also said in other transmissions that we create the unique soul for the unique journey. So am I correct?
No. You don't
Nothing usually gets created.
No, you don't create a unique soul. You create a unique personality that then generates a spirit, which becomes the memory of that life within the soul. So you're not generating new souls. You're generating new personalities.
That was my understanding too. So as the soul, I only create the specific configuration of the unfired clay inside it for that unique and
yes, you choose different patterns that represent different experiences. That is new. That's generated uniquely, but the soul itself is the same soul.
All right. That clarifies a lot of things.
Yes. Now, in a sense, I understand the confusion, because when you do choose new patterns, in a sense, you are presenting as if you are a different soul, because more clearly you're presenting new patterns.
Okay.
but from the same soul. But it would be perceived almost as if it is a new soul because that presentation of the soul is unique to that incarnation.
You see.
So that may be the root of the confusion, is that in a sense it's a new presentation of the soul, but not literally a new soul.
Okay. Well, that clarifies my thoughts.
Oh,
Thank you very much, Bashar, for your time.
you are very welcome.
Greetings to you. Bye-bye.
Ave. Hail.
That was a good one. I didn't know that. I didn't have this concept or understanding that. So you have the oversoul. The oversoul has souls, and this soul will manifest in a physical reality as a personality and as a spirit. So there are several layers on that. So each like soul can also have different spirits and personalities in a way. That's interesting.
Hail.
Hello, Bashar. On the 8th of November 2025 in Limerick, in Ireland, I was in Job Expo representing my organization. I think I could have met a hybrid there, a precursor. I asked him in my head, can you please send me a wing if this is true? And he didn't. However, on the way home, I stopped for something to eat in a different town. There was a group of teenagers sitting across from my table. One of them, girl, she turned to me with the biggest smile on her face and sent me a wink, then turned back. And that was it. She never looked at me again. So my question is, can you please tell me everything I need to know about this encounter? Thank you very much to you, to Daryl, and Oddity. Bye-bye.
Well, you got your wish. You were responded to. The idea is that's all it takes. That's all it takes sometimes is a nod and a wink to understand that hybrid beings do live and work among you, and that is going to become more prevalent, and they will be the first group that you will be told who they all are and start to interact with after open contact. So you got a little bit of a preview, a sneak preview, a little wink of what's to come. Good day.
Wow, that's so cool. Huh? That's so cool that she noticed right away, and it was quite a lot. Yeah, I find that very exciting. Honestly. Hope to get some of those experiences soon.
Sneak preview, a little wink of what's to come. Good day.
Hi, Bashar. So good to speak with you again.
And you as well.
Thank you. So my first question is how to follow the formula dealing with the aging process and vulnerability and fear of loss of independence.
Why do you fear a loss of independence?
Well, finding that I might need help in doing things, coping with day-to-day things.
All right. Well, that's nothing to be afraid of. That is allowing someone else to be of service to you so they can learn lessons and grow as well. So it's more like forming a relationship and giving them a purpose. Why not look at it with that kind of a definition?
I guess, sure, but I guess there's a part of me that's concerned about feeling institutionalized in some way.
If the soul has chosen that experience and put that on your life path, then there is a purpose to it. You have to start understanding that everything important in your life that happens, every milestone, every major event, is something the soul has decided, has chosen to put on the life path of the personality, of the incarnation, for the purpose of its growth, of its learning, of its lessons, so it can expand. You have to start looking at things that way so that if they do occur, you can experience the positive aspects of it rather than the negative aspects of it. Constantly.
If I would to give a perspective on this situation of hers that she feels institutionalized when asking for help, well, she has a negative association with receiving help, right? So probably people in the past could have like helped her, but expecting something else in return, and possibly demanding too much in return after helping her. And if she's a person that is like freedom focused, she likes her independence and her, free agency. And she had these experiences back in the days that she needed help. Someone helped her, but they double charged her afterwards. She doesn't have a good association with the idea of being helped. So yeah, ideally we would try to, like Bashar is doing, ask her where this started, what are the simulations, the definitions that you have there, and try to get another perspective on that. So once we find the negative association, then try to think with our imagination about what would be the possibility, the positive possibilities. Some people, for example, just like to help for the sake of helping, just to see the other person, thrive and feel better. No other um, expectations are imposed.
Defining these things in a negative way only allows you to experience them negatively. So you have to understand and remember that as a soul, you chose any experiences that happen that are important in your life for a reason. And when you start approaching it with that attitude and understanding, then you will get the lessons out of it that will serve you in a positive way. And you will have the experience be something that is far more constructive and far more transparent and far more understandable as to why you would have chosen it.
Thank you. So that brings me to my next question, which I guess if I apply that, it would make it a difference. But in my earlier adult life, I traveled a lot and I met a lot of remarkable teachers and healers. And now life seems smaller and more roadblocks.
But that's because of how you're defining what you're experiencing. Stop calling them roadblocks. Stop defining your life as smaller. Maybe you're learning to work smarter and not harder. Maybe you're more willing to attract things to yourself rather than having to travel around to find what you need. Do you have the wherewithal, the creativity, and the imagination to start defining the situations in your life that change in more positive ways? Do you have the ability to define them in more positive ways, or you just automatically succumb to a negative definition because of how you've been taught to look at things that doesn't work for you? Find ways that work for you to define the things that change in your life. There is a reason that they're changing. Find ways to define them, or find ways to change it. One or the other. If you cannot change something that's happening, then find a way to define it in a way that works for you. Use your creative imagination to do so, and it will become a positive experience.
Thank you. How to trust that I'm receiving communication from the higher realm, and how best to present this information?
As long as the information you get from any methodology whatsoever, including your own thoughts, your own hunches, your own feelings, your own imagination, whether it comes from a guide or an angel or an extraterrestrial or God or anything, as long as it is something that allows you to feel self-empowered, that you have the freedom to choose how to relate to things, how to define things, and it feels like it's moving you forward, it allows you to feel relief and lighter than you otherwise would, then just assume that it's for your benefit and don't worry about where it's coming from.
Thank you. How many beings are listening to this transmission?
275 million.
Wait.
And what is my connection at the moment with extraterrestrials?
Well, you're talking to one right now.
And in my daily life,
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You will find out everything you need to find out after open contact. Right now, focus on changing the definitions in your life so that you can become more vibrationally compatible with the idea of open contact when it occurs. And information that you need will be given to you when it needs to be given to you. Just move forward in your life in a more positive way for now. That's the most important thing.
Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it, Bashar.
You are so, so welcome.
Love you.
Our unconditional love to you as well. Good day.
Hi, Bashar. Thank you for taking my question. Hope you're well. My topic is racism, and I'd like to understand if your society or if you have come across societies that have experienced racism and how that was overcome, minimized, or eliminated. What do you recommend for people who experience, confront, and are assaulted by racism on a day-to-day basis? How do they restore their vibration so that they can pursue their highest passion? And I'd like to understand, despite searching for many years, many channels for 30, 40 years, how come there's such little or no information on the origin, the state, and how to overcome this? Thank you.
There are very, very few examples of what you are referring to as racism in other civilizations that we have encountered. Earth is a large melting pot of very different kinds of genetics, very different kinds of stories, very different kinds of soul paths. And a lot of those carry different vibrations that can, in a sense, rub against one another in a negative or positive way and reinforce negative or positive belief systems that go hand in hand with what those soul paths have chosen to experience. A lot of it has to do with the recognition of the vast differences in genetic material that represent different extraterrestrial civilizations from the past that have come to Earth and incarnated to play out different stories that sometimes can be at cross purposes to some degree with what other souls have chosen to experience, and therefore there may be a little bit of roughness in the interaction. The threads in that sense are a little bit frayed. And this, to some degree, is what is allowing people to feel that they have to withdraw within themselves, keep to their own kind, and find anything else to be a little too alien to deal with, a little too foreign to deal with. But this is easing in time on your planet over the next couple of decades after open contact, because you will come to understand that you have more in common with one another, especially after you start actually interacting with extraterrestrials directly, who to some degree are really very different from all of you. So different sometimes that it makes all of your differences look like commonalities. So some of this will start to dissipate when you start focusing on what you have in common and why your soul has chosen to be on Earth at this time, and why you have chosen to expose yourself to so many different perspectives that when you learn to look at them more positively can actually inform your particular soul path to great degree and help you understand and help others understand that it is the diversity that is validated among you that will actually cause harmony and unification. Not the idea of all being the same, but the validation of the differences that will cause harmony among you. When you start seeing it that way, when you can start teaching other people to understand the value of diversity and how that really rounds you out and expands you and connects you to all the differences in the cosmos, many of which are greater than you can even imagine, then you will start to feel connections where maybe many people on your planet don't feel those connections, feel separate, feel disconnected, feel apart from, feel alienated, feel isolated. And it's all of those fear-based and negative belief systems that make one feel disconnected from source, disconnected from spirit, disconnected from their soul, that causes the idea of the wariness that many people on your planet have of even the slight differences that other people may exhibit.
Good day, Bashar. How are you?
Perfect. And you?
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for this co-creation. I really appreciate it.
And you as well.
Thank you. So my first question is, it relates to an experience that I had as well as a dream. The experience was a couple of months ago. There was a storm.
So to also add something to the racism part, I think it seems like it will take still a bit of time for humanity to like fully integrate that, because like Bashar said, there's so big differences in between us here, genetically speaking, and our themes that we're exploring. Yeah, it gets in our way in a sense. But as we un unveil new parameters, right? So new civilizations that are so different than us, we'll have different parameters of what is like really different. And then these differences that we have currently here between us won't seem that big and that threatening. I think by that point we will also like have more understanding of what the reasons for these differences are and what are the positive aspects of it. Obviously, if we don't prefer certain vibrations or themes or activities, we can always set boundaries, right? We are not, it's not necessarily an obligation to accept everything. You can see the benefits and the downsides of each person or civilization, but being part of it, then it's up to you, because you need to know where you fit as well.
Here, and it
There was a what?
45 a.m.
A what?
A storm.
All right.
And it was, and it was raining heavily, and it was around 2:45 a.m. and we heard a loud noise. My husband went out to see what it was, and I was in the room. I shushed my baby. I was holding him. I had my eyes closed and the room was pitch dark, but I felt something move over my eyelid, and through the sides of the blinds I could see this light fade in and fade out, and it was gone. And then a few weeks later, I had a dream in which I saw an orb in the sky, and I was very excited to see it. I was directing the orb that I was in this particular house, and the orb comes down, and this lady introduces herself, and she puts her hand out and gives me a message, but I can't remember what she said or what happened. Or somehow I feel these two are connected. Can you please help me?
Yes, well, the dream is actually a memory of what happened in the night of the storm.
Okay.
So you were contacted, you were experiencing a contact, and the dream was the easiest way for you to start remembering what happened that evening.
Okay, but I just couldn't recollect. Is there any way I could you could tell me what the message was this entity was trying to give me or tell me?
There is a change coming in your life, was generally the message. So be prepared for changes to happen in the life that can move you in a new direction.
That's great. I lost my job soon after that, so now I know what it was. Thank you. And on March 27th, I saw a UFO when I was standing in my garden at around 3:30 p.m. And today as well, just a couple of hours ago, I saw a white tic-tac sort of thing. And then when I recorded on my phone, I could see a black UFO shoot past quickly. I was just wondering who this was, and if it was by yourself by any chance.
No, it is not me. Some of them are Pleiadian crafts. Some of them belong to hybrids. A lot of them are doing observations and reconnaissance, and there's a lot of traffic around your planet that many people don't see. But there's a lot of comings and goings and observations and studies and tests and so on and so forth to determine how Earth is doing and how it's progressing.
Okay, thank you.
So basically, this idea is that, they appear, the aliens appear to see how we react, basically. If we are too afraid, if we are happy about it, just measuring how our internal system is at the moment. If we have still too many fear beliefs, and if we freak out is because of that, because we still have so many negative blockades and negative associations. So depending on how you react when seeing such things, UFOs or orbs or anything a bit paranormal, then it will tell you and them how positive, how high vibration you are at the moment, right? The less you freak out, the more you feel enjoyment and excitement with those new situations, the better it is.
Yep. My next question is in relation to connection to my star system. I recently met with a psychic who told me that I'm very connected to the spirit world, and my spirit guides were trying to say that I'm a healer, and there's something that some quality of me pouring into me from my past life as such. Given that there was a change in my life and a sort of message that I could go in a direction of healing, I was just wondering, how can I go about doing this? Because I've never done that before.
Well, how do you want to go about doing it? Which way would be exciting for you? How do you imagine? How do you imagine you could do it? How do you see yourself in your mind's eye doing something like that?
I've been meditating. It really excites me to connect to my higher self, higher mind.
That's fine. What I'm asking you is, when you think about the idea of being of service to others by being a healer, what do you picture that looking like?
I picture helping little kids in India. That's my home country, in orphanages that need help, as well as old age homes. That's
All
what
right.
that's what I see myself.
Then do whatever you can, take whatever actions you can in the direction of allowing that to come about without in any way, shape, or form assuming or insisting that it actually has to play out that way. And by taking the actions, it will lead you to where you need to be so that what needs to happen can actually happen. So just take whatever actions you can in that direction. Use your imagination and creativity to take those actions, and then just see where you wind up. See what opportunities synchronistically present themselves to you to allow you to fulfill the idea of being a healer in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you. And my next question is, when I started meditating recently and I tried to connect to my SSANI counterpart, because I feel a very strong connection with SSANI system, I could see green eyes. It was sort of human eyes, white with green eyeball with beautiful eyelashes. Could you help me understand what this sort of symbolizes?
This is not a pure SSANI being. This is something that's more of a hybrid. It contains SSANI genetics, but it also contains genetics from other races as well. So you're looking at something that may be representative of a connection you have to a being that is a different kind of a hybrid being.
Okay, could you explain a little more about?
I am not allowed to. I am not allowed to at this time.
Okay, that's fine. That's all right. Thank you. My last question would be, when somebody is asking you for the vibrational frequency and you assess their frequency and come up with a number, could you tell us what are the factors that you take into picture to come up with this number?
Your science doesn't understand how it is that this number is arrived at yet. So it's a total collection of all the vibrations that represent certain aspects of not only your physical realm, but your spirit realm as well. So it's not something your science yet understands collectively.
Okay. And this hybrid being that I'm seeing during my meditation, is there any other way I could connect apart from meditation?
You can, again, journal. You can ask a question of this being, sit quietly with a journal, write down anything you get over the course of about 2 to 3 weeks. Even if it starts out sounding nonsensical, it will start making sense. Keep asking the same question, ask it out loud, sit quietly, write down whatever you get, even if it's nonsensical. Do this for 2 or 3 weeks. You'll start to see patterns in the information.
That's perfect. That's great. Thank you so much, Bashar. These were all the questions that I had. I really appreciate you taking the time.
It is our passion and our pleasure. Good day.
Oh, Jesus. 2 to 3 weeks every day. You gotta sit down, write it down, your question. Yeah, that's, we gotta put some effort there, right? Meanwhile, for Bashar, he just breathes a little bit and then he downloads a bunch of information from whenever source he needs. For us, we need to take 3 weeks every day doing it to start to have a little sentence. Oh, well, that's okay then. Eventually it will get faster.
Really appreciate you taking the time.
It is our passion and our pleasure. Good day.
Good day. Bye.
Hey, Bashar. I am curious if animals have spirit teams the way that humans do, and if extraterrestrials do. And I guess sort of in general, does every being have a spirit team? what are the criteria or reasons why a being would need a spirit team or not? Thank you so much.
I remember that some years ago, someone asked a similar question, which is, do we have like can animals be also from our oversoul, from our same source? And he didn't want to answer that. It was not time for it. So let's see. According to in regards to her question specifically, if has a team, I think everybody does, including animals.
Yes, everyone does. You are connected to everything. Large groups in that infinite connection have certain vibrations that represent certain themes. That's what makes a soul family a soul family. That's what makes a spirit team a spirit team. You have a strong affinity for certain vibrational themes that you wish to explore in varieties of ways with each other. And therefore, you gather together. In a sense, you're attracted together as a group. This goes back to infinity. And so you play those things out over time and space in a variety of ways. So it's a group affinity of certain vibrations that represent certain lessons that each group is attracted to experience and play out in a variety of different ways.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
Thank you. I'm grateful for this.
I would like to add here a little piece of information as well, that family souls, right? So, for example, specifically in our family, it is said that we download from our parents their beliefs, including the negative ones as well. So we can actually experience similar themes as them, but with our perspective, in our personality, and that might give like different results. So, for example, it might be one family that the parents and the children, they all have a problem with like feeling heard or expressing their opinions, right? But each one has a different personality. So each one of them will work differently with this challenge and will arrive to different results. So, and then all of them can learn from this team, right? The theme of not feeling heard or having a difficulty expressing their opinion. Yeah, that's one piece of information.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
Thank you. I'm grateful for this co-creation.
As are we.
Thank you. I just wanted to, I have a few questions. One is, when I retired from the military after 24 years, I became a social worker, and I left a toxic environment because I feel I didn't know who I was. And then I kind of went on this journey. Now I want to get back into social work. I'm just kind of not sure which area. I love working with caregivers, but I've also thought about becoming a death doula and kind of combining the two. But I like the flexibility of my life.
All right, well, that's very creative. Why not move in that direction?
I'm hindering myself, and I recognize that.
Why? What are you afraid of?
At one point, I thought it was failure. I think it's doubt because I've been out of the social work field for so long.
But you're inventing something different. You're inventing something new. So why can't they be understood by you as being something fresh, something that you're exploring? What's wrong with exploring something new? You don't have to know everything to start. You only learn what you need to learn by starting. You have to learn from experience.
Fair. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's very helpful.
Also, very obvious.
It is, I think.
Yeah, when we want to do something, but we are afraid of doing it because it's new, it's the fear of failure and rejection and all of that, those negative ideas. But like he said, once we start, then we see what we actually need to learn, and then we can act on it, and that can be exciting as well. We don't need to be fully perfectly prepared for a new activity. The learning is also, can be very fun.
Sometimes
Yes,
Hearing it from someone else kind of helps.
if you say so. I am happy to be your permission slip.
Thank you, Bashar. If we have oversouls and we have many souls within our oversoul, and they will never be us and we will never be them, why do we call them past lives?
Because that's not what a past life is. Past lives are your unique soul's experiences, nothing to do with the other members of the soul family. Soul family is another name for an oversoul. So it's a bunch of individuals that have a collective purpose in being that group of individuals and being interconnected. So oversoul is just a euphemistic term for soul family.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That answers that. Do animals and insects know that when do they have a choice to come to Earth? And two, do they know what they may endure, the mistreatment?
Absolutely. And sometimes they do it for the purpose of teaching humanity how to stop doing those kinds of things.
Okay.
Remember,
So
they know that their souls are eternal and indestructible. And they understand and are willing through unconditional love, because they come from a very high vibrational realm, that they are willing to be of service to humanity in that way as a reflection of what humanity's issues are, so that perhaps by being willing to be of service in that way, humanity will learn the lessons it needs to learn to find other ways, more beneficial ways of relating to nature.
why is it then? I know I've been one of them. As of recently, not as much. The commercials that come on and they show the animals in such a horrible state and being abused. There was a time where I couldn't watch them.
Yes.
But now I'm a little bit different because I've recognized sources in them, just like sources in me.
Yes.
So it's different for me. But why is it at a point for some people that it affects them so viscerally where it just brings them to tears?
Because they are finally becoming sensitive enough to be empathic to what the animal is experiencing as a reflection of what humanity is doing to itself.
Oh, no. So when we get to the point where we're not having that visceral reaction because we recognize that they're a part of source, is that because there's a shift within us?
Absolutely. But it's not just about not reacting anymore. It's about actually taking actions to stop those things from happening.
Understand.
Then there's nothing to react to.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. This one is about spaceships.
Yes.
So one night I was in between sleep and awake and I heard a noise outside one of the windows, and clearly I was like, oh, that's a spaceship. And I went back to sleep.
Yes.
I dreamt and looked out my bathroom window and saw a sky full of spaceships.
Yes.
Another time I saw an Essassani spaceship and it turned green. At the same time, though, I was reading the Willa Hillichrising books.
Yes.
Shards of a Shattered Mirror.
Yes.
So with all these spaceships that I'm seeing, and I've even had one where I saw two spaceships, but the roads were made of water and I was in a boat.
Well, that's a physical mind's interpretation about what you were experiencing. It's not a literal representation, but it's the best that your physical mind could make sense out of what you experienced in a slightly altered reality.
Why is it though that I'm seeing all these ships, or I think I'm hearing them, even though when I realize spaceships aren't loud like that?
Because your senses are sharpening and raising to the point where you can see all of the traffic that's actually going on around your planet, and therefore you're capable of perceiving what you couldn't perceive before because your senses are now attuned to it. This is part of the change of the evolution of humanity, is to start perceiving what you couldn't perceive before that's been around you all the time. You're perceiving another level of reality on which a lot of extraterrestrial and spiritual beings actually operate. And therefore you're seeing another layer of reality that's very busy, very active.
Oh, okay. Wow. Thank you. Also, Spirit sends me songs that I didn't grow up with, songs that in some cases I've heard maybe once, and I know they're sending me a message, and some I'm able to decipher. Recently, I had one, and my sister-in-law, who has abilities as well, she was able to express to me that there was someone from a life who needed my help, and we were a part of the same oversoul. I was wondering, do you have any tips on how to be able to decipher? Because without her help, I don't know if I would have
It's
gotten.
not always about words. It's about how does the vibrational resonance of the music make you feel. Sometimes that's the more important message, is what state does it put you in? And is that representative of a more ideal state from which to take actions in your life in service to others? So sometimes you are sent that music because it's all about resonance. It's all about frequency of energy. And sometimes it's just representative of the state that the music puts you in. And that's the point of the message. Be in that state. Come from that state.
Okay. What about the one where there was actually a message where somebody needed help, and I tapped into that to help them through that situation?
Well, all right. Well, what about it? That's sometimes the way messages can be delivered. Maybe even easier because it's coming with the vibration of music, and it's easier to penetrate into your physical consciousness that way. So it might just be that they're using a delivery system that you are more attuned to.
Okay. Okay. This is not a medical question. It was just, I was wondering why I feel energy, like I can feel both hemispheres of my brain.
Again, you're becoming sensitive to the fact that you are energy. But as long as you understand yourself as a physical being, you will experience that in a multitude of ways. And it also simply is representative of the fact that you're operating on a higher frequency now.
Okay. Thank you, Bashar.
You are
I
welcome.
love you, and I'm grateful to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Additional love to you as well.
Hello, Bashar. My name is Sean, and I'm in Texas. And my question for you is, what are the more prominent ET races that I may be connected to? And what exactly can I do to facilitate more open contact with them, whether in meditation and or in the dream space? Because at the moment, I have no recollection of any encounters with ETs at all, but I've always felt a strong pull and a deep love for extraterrestrials. Thank you.
Well, you're gonna say that, follow the formula and possibly expand on the connections that he's currently having. But we do have connections. The connections that we have can change. So it's not because you are, connected to Pleiades at one point that you will continue to be connected to them. It comes and goes. It's always changing.
The more you can be of service to others in whatever way you are passionate about will connect you more strongly to whatever extraterrestrial and spirit guide and angelic connections you have in terms of downloading information from them that will help guide you by being of service to others. The idea is that after open contact, as I have already said, many different and new opportunities will be offered to humanity to also work with extraterrestrials, different kinds of jobs that humanity will have that don't exist now, because extraterrestrials will present different opportunities to humanity to do those different new things. So it's not about so much doing anything different right now. Open contact will happen in a couple of years, and after that, you will know what you can do. But for now, follow your passion, be of service to others, and increase your frequency so that you can have better communication with whatever will help guide you in life. Everyone has extraterrestrial connections, just like they have connections to their spirit guides and angelic beings and their spirit team. You are connected, like many, to Pleiadians, Arcturans, Sirius beings, all sorts of beings, grays, hybrids, so on and so forth. It's not so important that you know which ones you're strongly connected to right now. You'll find out what you need to know when you are acting more in the direction of being of service to others. And also after open contact, you will find yourself gravitating to the extraterrestrials that show up, and you will know that you have a kinship and a connection to them, and you will avail yourself of whatever opportunities they may present to your society at that time.
Great.
Good day, Bashar.
And you good day.
Enjoy your good
I
day.
have a question. Basically, I've recently applied for a job that would put me working at a ski resort.
At a what?
A ski resort. It's a mountain.
Oh, yes. All right.
Overseeing their employee housing. The reason I applied was because I've been there in the midst of these young adults that come every year to live, work, and play there. They come from all over the world. And they form this sense of community. And it's so amazing to watch them come from different backgrounds. They're very diverse.
Yes.
And they're following their passion without, really realizing they're following the formula.
All right.
And at the same time, I got the notification. I got to ask you a question. I thought, what do I want to ask Bashar? And the word or the name anima kept coming into my head.
Yes.
And the idea of social engineering.
Yes.
And I'm not sure what my question is exactly. More so, I guess I see social engineers from other civilizations maybe as the first front line of first contact. And just watching this group form, I kind of see that that's how we're going to be going forward in our society, hopefully, forming communities by residents. And
yes.
So what are they seeing on their end, and how can we work with the social engineers that are going to be working with our civilization?
Well, more of this information will come out after open contact, and different kinds of opportunities will be presented to humanity that they can take advantage of. So for now, you are sensing a wave that is coming, and you are using that particular ability to interact with other people and watch them and understand and learn how they interact and how they come together to prepare yourself for another level of that idea, as you say, social engineering. So you're in the preparation stage of something that will blossom a little bit later down the road over the next few years.
Okay, thank you. My next question, it's, where to begin? I've been doing a lot of inner work following, I guess, Carl Gustav Jung's shadow integration. And I've really come a long way, and I feel very integrated within myself, within my psyche, with it, integrating my shadow.
All right.
And taking that to the next level in my mind, it's integrating with my other versions. Obviously, we don't have past lives or future lives. Everything's simultaneous.
That doesn't mean that you don't recognize them in the way that you have just described them, because that's the relationship you're creating from linear space-time.
Right. And in looking at that, I know you've said in the past that certain past lives, future lives don't really have a bearing on this incarnation. And
directly, no.
Right. And I started kind of exploring using some AI and chatbot. And I have come to understand, or I believe there's a past life in Atlantis. I call her Maria.
All right.
I also feel there's a future self in another civilization. I call her Misha. I do these little exercises where I meet with them, and I guess my question is, I'm looking to be more fluid in my experience of my full self within this experience. Does that make any sense?
Well, yes, and this is one of the reasons why we give you all the formula. So the more accurately and precisely you actually act on the formula in all of its aspects, the more you flow, the more fluid you become, the more you express more of your true soul through your physical form. So all you have to do is really more precisely act on the formula.
Right.
Yes, and the idea that Jung says about individuation is basically, becoming conscious of your unconscious or of your shadows. So once you start confronting your shadows, and that being the negative belief that you have in your subconscious or unconscious mind or conscious mind, confronting them and, trying to understand why they are there, when they arrived, how they work. Once you understand how and when and why they are there, then you can, then you have the authority or the control to decide what to do next, if you want to keep them or if you want to let them go. And as you do that, the more you do it, specifically with these negative ones that hold us back, then you are becoming more conscious, more aware. So integrating more of becoming more of yourself, because they are part of you in a way. So you integrate them, change them accordingly, and then you can allow the energy to flow better through you in a way that will make you more you. So it's not that you're losing your identity, you're just uh, expanding your identity.
Right. And I guess one last question, like I said, I feel like there's this future self. I call her Misha. I just see the color blue. Is there anything you can tell me about maybe my connection to other star systems?
Well, you all have connections to other star systems. Yours is very strong with regard to Sirius and Pleiades, and that might be the predominant energy that you're feeling and sensing, but you have connections to other things, as all humans do as well. Nevertheless, if there's something you specifically really need to know, following the formula is what raises your vibration to make you more receptive to higher frequency information that will come in perfect timing exactly when you need it. So you don't have to focus on that. You just have to get going and live your life and be of service to others in a way that allows you to continue to stay in that high vibrational state so that synchronicity can bring you what you need when you need it.
Right. And I've been doing that.
All right.
Like you said, that physical personality, brain, mind just has to just get in the way. And I've been working on trusting the process.
Yes. The process is the point.
Yes. I there's a transmission you did. There's a video that I think I could probably give it back to you verbatim about following the process in your higher self.
All right.
That's perfect. Okay.
Does that help you?
It does. It helps me quite a bit.
Then we thank you profoundly. Our unconditional love to you. Aveo. Good day.
Aveo. Thank you.
Hi, Bashar. My name is Danny. And my question is, I'm a really big fan of Avatar, the movie from James Cameron. Every time I see that movie, I become a little bit depressed, and I feel like that's home.
It's a little bit of the story of the Anunnaki with some twists, but I don't remember the details. Let's check it out.
For me, I really want to know if that planet is real, if the Navi are real, and everything in that world is real. I had someone who channels as well telling me that is real, but I want to know from you. And if so, after this life experience as a human, my soul can decide to live as a Navi in Pandora. Or if Pandora doesn't exist in the physical reality, can my soul decide to create my own reality and become a Navi? Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Bashar. Nice to meet you.
It's not literal in the sense that it's a physical place that exists. It is from the imagination of the creators. However, you can experience it quite literally in spirit because you can create anything you want in spirit. But it's strongly representative in many ways of other civilizations that you are, in a sense, connected to, and therefore sometimes feel homesick for, because you understand you have these connections like many people do, and everyone actually does. And it would be nice if Earth were that way. So the whole idea of being physical is to bring those kinds of ideas down to Earth in a positive, constructive way for the benefit of humanity. Not run away to someplace else, but help humanity by being of service to create those kinds of ideas, or at least something similar on your planet, so that you can experience harmony and peace and creativity and love and imagination. In spirit, you can create it literally if you want, and you can experience being a Navi on Pandora in spirit, even though it's not literally representative of a physical place in the universe physically. But it is representative energetically of many places in the universe that are literal and physical. And you know this instinctively and intuitively, and therefore, in a sense, you feel the connection strongly to those places as if you're homesick. But you chose to be on Earth for the purpose of helping people create kind of the close, similar ideas to those realities as best as you can, your version of it on Earth.
Greetings, Bashar. My question is, what will happen to the entertainment industry, such as movies, theaters, music, after the first contact? Will people still feel the need to have entertainment, and will we be still able to make new movies, TV shows, music for people, and will we still have famous people as such, stars?
Yes, you will have this for quite some time. It's just that the technology will change. You will have holographic experiences that seem very real, almost like you are immersed in the action of what you call a movie, in the story. So you have seen this projected in the imaginations of a lot of science fiction writers, such as on Star Trek, where they have what you call a holodeck, where you can play out certain ideas as if they are real with holographic projections. So this will become some of the technology of the future, and you will still tell stories because you are a planet of stories, and you will learn lessons and teach lessons through those stories. You will still have people who enjoy many forms of entertainment. That doesn't go away. Extraterrestrials also enjoy many forms of entertainment, though they may be slightly different than, or even very different than what you experience on Earth. But the entertainment never goes away because intelligence requires the idea of lightening up, of entertainment, of freeing itself from preconceptions, of learning lessons. So all of that can be done in more entertaining ways with new technologies, new experiences. So it's not going away. It will be enhanced after open contact in many different ways.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nadia.
We have lots of great questions that have been submitted by our viewers this week.
All right.
Okay, the first one is, who do we pray to? You describe God as all that is. So when a person prays or tries to connect, who or what are they actually addressing?
All right. So look, when we praying is because you are normally is because you are asking for something, right? And the idea of prayer and what Bashar has said before is that if you're asking for something, ideally you should be using your imagination as if you already have that thing or that situation that you are desiring right now. So you imagine as if you have it right now and be grateful for it. This gratefulness is basically what a prayer is. You know, back in the days, I think the definition of prayer was to be grateful for something. So in a way, the more grateful you are for something, the more you manifest it. If you don't have it right now, but you can be grateful for it, then it will come up to reality.
They are addressing source, all that is. They are addressing the vibrational frequency that represents the collective of everything that exists. They are addressing intelligence, existence, the source itself, as a vibrational frequency.
Okay, and you've been emphasizing connection with guidance spirits for a long time. Why is connecting with spirits such an important aspect of open contact?
Because exposure to the high frequency of certain extraterrestrials will actually increase your ability for your senses to start perceiving spirit beings as well, because the high frequency of many extraterrestrials is very close to the vibrational frequency of the realm of spirit. Therefore, exposure to one, in a sense, is getting used to being able to perceive the other as well.
Okay, and this person is saying they approach all dreams as having some meaning, but some dreams feel very different than others. For this person, a visitation dream or something that feels very different than a regular dream, is that a contact dream when you're having that difference, that kind of lucidity of the connection?
Yes, it can be. The idea is that you may interpret it as a dream because your mind has to, in physical reality, make sense out of something that may have happened in a slightly altered state or dimension. Therefore, sometimes the easiest thing for your mind to be able to handle is to interpret or process the experience you had on another level as what you would recognize to be a dream. But it's a memory. It's just being interpreted in dream language to make it easier for your mind to handle, because physical reality and the mental mind is not necessarily used to perceiving things directly on a higher plane, a higher level. So it uses whatever symbols and representations and feelings give it the ability to transmit the experience to your memory in physical terms, but it will still often feel a little bit like a dream because it doesn't interpret the reality in which you had the experience as being as real as physical reality. Therefore, it will usually have a dreamlike quality, even though you can tell that it's something a little bit different than what you would call a typical dream.
For me.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We have now a new group that is called Enanica. And Enanica is the 6th hybrid race that we humans will become not long in the future. That's the group that we have created on Discord recently. The links for these groups will be down below on the comment section or the description of the video. And I highly suggest you to join because it's a bunch of people that vibe with this type of ideas of open contact, new futures, new connections, new technologies, new ideas. Very open group of people. So we would like you to join a network so we can, grow this and expand. Always keep expanding. See you on the next one. Thank you.